What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fresh Cuts, where we sit down and talk about the newest releases in theaters or on your favorite streaming services. Today, we are talking about the newest stop motion picture from Henry Selick, the man behind A Nightmare Before Christmas, James and the Giant Peach, Coraline, and others. I didn't look into it. But we're talking about his Monkey Bone. That's right. He did do Monkey Bone. You're right.
I just remember reading it when I was looking up doing research.
Right. I just remember those core films, and I completely forgot about Monkey Bone because it's not talked about.
That's fair.
But we are talking about Netflix's new Wendell&Wild, which is very exciting. This is a movie that I think we got our first trailer. Was it this year or was it the end of last year? It felt like forever ago. And all I know is that when you see Henry Selick's name, you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to be well done, and I mean, stop motion is just so much fun.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you didn't
underappreciated art form.
Very much, very much. If you didn't know, I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me as always, the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. I changed around the video format, so now they're under me now. You guys are under me now.
You're beneath me.
You are beneath me. So, Fresh Cuts. My brain is broken right now. I can't. Words are hard to come out of my mouth. If you didn't know, with Fresh Cuts, we do spoiler free in the beginning, and then once we've run out of things to talk about spoiler free, we talk about spoilers. So we're gonna go around the room and talk about what we liked about this, or just talk about what we thought of this movie coming out of it. I saw it the day it came out, so I didn't get it to do a rewatch, so I think I have everything still in my head, but I know you guys are a little bit more fresh on it, watching it in the last couple days. So we'll start with you guys. Whoever wants to start. What'd you think of
Let's go start with me. Okay. This is a tough one. I will say this. I'll preface this. I did enjoy watching this movie. I enjoyed my viewing experience. There was a weird flow thing with the movie, not necessarily like pacing, just how the movie felt as it progressed. It went from and I know this was the point of the film, where it went from it just felt weird. Like all this weird shit was happening, and then it kind of started making sense, and then it just got fucking weird again, and then it kind of started making sense, and you're just like, okay, I'm just along for a ride on this. I thought the actors were pretty good for the most part. I don't know if it was an audio issue on our end. Jordan Peele, just whenever he spoke earlier in the film, he just sounded really fucking quiet all the time compared to, Keegan-Michael Key.
I think that's the point. I think his character was very much more subtle, and he was very soft-spoken compared to, Keegan.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way they are in real life. He is a very soft-spoken person compared to Keegan-Michael
Key,
who is very just he's out there, he's very loud.
Yeah. Which okay, that makes sense, because I know a little bit about their stuff, but I'm not super familiar with their work. It may have been just our audio thing. I just remember having to fool with the audio a lot in the beginning, and he seemed to open up as a character as the movie went on. And I don't know if that was intentional, if it wasn't. Other than that, I liked the characters in the movie. The style was great. The stop motion was great. The music was fine. It was different. There was all sorts of, there was some R&B, there was some punk, and there was a big emphasis on music for some of the characters. A lot of songs, but not necessarily people singing songs, though there was. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm going way too in depth with this. I'm so sorry. I liked the movie. There's some things I wasn't sure about, but I will say I enjoyed the movie.
I liked it a lot, but I love Lyric Ross. She's from This Is Us. Loved her in that. So hearing her voice again was pretty cool. Angela Bassett, love her.
Didn't know it was her until the end of the movie, and I saw it showed her name under the character. I was like, okay.
Yep. Who else?
Ving
Love
Rhames.
the
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
As Buffalo Belzer.
I love Belzer. He's probably my favorite one out of the whole lineup. I love Belzer.
Great character.
But yeah, I didn't too much care for the political part of it. I
Oh.
coulda done without those 2,
Oh, you're talking about
but I
the
can't
fate
remember
The Claxons or Claxons or whatever.
yeah, the characters who are
but the
based off clearly
2.
off of some people in real politics, but we won't name
Yeah,
names,
Mhm.
yeah,
especially one of them.
yeah. I didn't too much care for them, but other than that, I really liked the movie.
Very interesting, diverse cast of characters in
Yeah.
this movie
Very
too.
much. Yeah. Yep. Good.
Oh, and what James Hong.
James
I just
Oh,
Hong,
always
yeah.
man.
I always just remember him as the advisor in Mulan. Like that's the role I always think
He
of him when I hear his voice. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I just watched well, not just, a couple months ago, I on the plane ride down to Disney a couple months ago, I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once,
mhm.
which is it was, like, one of the biggest movies of the year, and he was in it.
Yeah.
The man is killing it, and he's, like, in his, like, late 80s.
Yeah.
He's still doing great.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was a lot of fun. I don't think this is a top tier Henry Selick film compared to his others. I mean, nothing can compare to A Nightmare Before Christmas or I mean, Coraline is fantastic. James and the Giant Peach is a classic. A lot of people don't talk about Monkey Bone because that has its own problems, but it's a good movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I love I love Key and Peele. They're hilarious. And they just are I mean, these guys have literally created an entire career around riffing off each other, so the fact that, like, you get them doing that in this movie and they're so good, the fact that, like, Jordan Peele's character is kinda the dim-witted one, but he also comes up with the better ideas where it's like,
Yeah.
"This doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
And then you have, Key's character who is very outspoken and, like, is just he's very animated and loud and he is the smart one, but but he can't accept that his brother is the one that comes up with all these bright ideas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like I said before, I didn't know Angela Bassett was the voice of the sister until the end of the movie, but she's
Yeah.
always great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lyric Ross, she does a great job as Kat, the main character. James Hong, Ving Rhames. Let's shout out Sam Zelaya, who played Raul. We had Tamara Smart as Seo. What was it? How do you pronounce this name? Is it Siobhan?
Maybe.
The British
Mm,
girl, the one who was the
maybe.
daughter of the main villains of this movie.
I don't remember how they pronounced it.
I will point out something I thought was interesting. Is like not all the characters, but there's a certain percentage of the characters in this film that their models in this movie vaguely resemble them in real life.
Yeah. So Henry
Outside of
Selick,
Key and Peele, but the other characters.
yeah, they very much look like the actor portraying them, which is
which I thought was a
Yeah.
nice touch.
Yeah. So this was also produced by Jordan Peele under his Monkey Paw Productions. It was kind of a collaborative effort between him and Henry Selick. He'd always wanted to work with Henry Selick because he loved, you know, the style of film that he would do, being a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan and just pretty much everything that he has done. And it was cool to this is not a kids movie in my opinion. I mean, I think it is in a way, but it's not because it's dark. Like there's some dark elements of it. I mean, there's murder and
Mhm.
you're raising the dead and there's just all this dark elements that I think blended well between Peele and Selick, especially with what Peele has been doing in the live action front and what Selick does, with stop motion. I mean, it's very much it's not as dark as Coraline. Coraline is dark. That movie is
Well, it's fun.
dark.
Isn't Coraline rated PG?
It is, but it's not like in order to
I
make
know
a
what you meant.
movie rated PG-13 or R, it has to be very bloody or a lot of swears. But it doesn't mean that there can't be dark elements. That I mean, we could go through movies from the past that are rated PG. I mean, it's also the times as well. Like if you go back in the 80s and you see like
Yes, yes.
Poltergeist is rated PG. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, shouldn't
Well,
be.
not what I was saying is just comparison to other movies. Like it's interesting that this is PG-13. Even though I think it's
Right.
mainly for a few instances of language, and like, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a few bits of violence where
Yeah.
people just randomly get offed, but
Right
I
there.
mean, I thought it probably could have like, even if you didn't, it would probably have been like a harder PG movie at best. I don't
It
know.
could have been just because of the fact that, like, they're raising the dead. Maybe there were zombies. That maybe could
Yeah.
have been the reason. I don't know.
Well, there were zombies and undead in the Corpse Bride, and that was only PG.
That's true. That's true. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
Just a thought.
how they determine that. Um. So yeah. So this was based on an unpublished story by Henry Selick and Clay McLeod Chapman, which was interesting to read, especially
I
since
didn't know
most of
that.
this stuff are based most of the movies that he has done have been based on books, or I mean, like Nightmare Before Christmas was based on the poem that Tim Burton wrote in the 80s. I know Coraline was based on a book. James and the Giant Peach was based on a Roald Dahl book. So most of his stuff is based on pre-written stories. So it was cool to see that this was something that was mostly his work. And just for everybody out there, just so we can remind you, The Nightmare Before Christmas is more Henry Selick's movie than Tim Burton's, just so
Yes, it
everybody
is.
has that in their fucking head. Because, god damn that debate.
Yep.
So this was released September 11th, 2022 at the Toronto International Film Festival. And then it was released October 21st, 2022 on Netflix and in select theaters, but not enough to give me a budget or how much money it made in the theaters.
Of course.
Yeah. Actually, it was released in the United States on the 21st, but not till Netflix till the 28th. So, Jesus Christ. So, of course, the cast: Keegan-Michael Key as Wendell, Jordan Peele as Wild, Lyric Ross is our main character, Kat, Angela Bassett as Sister Helly, which is a great name, James Hong as Father Best, which these names are great because it like it fits these characters so well because it's not remotely what these characters are.
Oh yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
Father Best. We'll get to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ving Rhames as Buffalo Belzer, who you think is the villain, but he's not.
Oh.
Sam Zelaya as Raul Cucolati. Names are
I didn't
hard.
know they had a last name.
Tamara Smart as Siomban Claxon. Maxine Peake as Irmgard Claxon, and David Harwood as Lane Claxon. And there's some other characters as well. I can't remember what was Raul's mom's name. Oh,
I can't remember.
Mariana. Natalie Martinez played
Okay.
the mom. So yeah, it's a good time. I had a blast watching this movie. It was nice because I didn't, it was during my time I couldn't do much, so I was watching a lot of movies, and I had just watched a movie on Hulu right before called Matriarch, which was very messed up, not for children at all. So this was a nice palate cleanser. Just throw this on and just be like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Just kind of shut the brain off for a little bit. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it and recommend it to anybody who is a fan of stop motion, Paranorman and some other movies
Yeah.
that I recommend. It in anything of that style. This is very different though. If you look at the stop motion, the design of the characters in this compared to movies like Coraline or even Nightmare, it's very different. It very much looks like a 2D picture until
Yeah.
the way, when it moves the camera, because everything seems very flat, which I
Yeah,
like,
it does.
especially with Wendell&Wild's character design. I
Oh
really
yeah.
liked how they very much looked very flat, because even when it would move to like the sides or the back, they looked like they were made out of paper, which was really cool compared to
Yeah,
like
you notice
your human characters.
you notice that more when they are the demons as opposed to when they change
Right, when
to
they
come to the
become
living world.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like this movie.
Yeah.
We ready to talk about spoilers?
I want to say one more thing before we talk about spoilers.
Sure.
You should go watch it if you haven't.
Yes. If you have
Yeah,
Netflix, go watch it. Recommend
it's
it.
what,
I think it's an hour
hour
and
40
45
some
minutes,
minutes.
I think.
Yeah, it's not very long. Interesting cast of characters. Genuinely interesting cast of
Yes.
characters.
All right. Well, if you haven't seen this movie, make sure to go check it out before you continue watching this, and then come back and listen. Or if you don't care about being spoiled, just continue watching or listening. You have been warned. All right, Angela, what did you
Yeah,
like about this movie?
That you remember.
that I remember.
She was
Yes,
totally blitzed, like she is.
I was
She was
in and
not.
out a lot. Not sleeping. No. I like the. Oh, I love the goat.
Gabby
Goat.
Gabby Goat's badass.
Yes. Best thing in this whole movie. No, I love the mark on her hand. I love how it's used
Mhm.
when she uses it. I like how it's not just, oh, I'm gonna cover my mouth. No, I like the placement of. And I love that Manberg has no legs, but he has fake feet that he
Shoes, fake shoes.
Yes, fake
Or
shoes.
just shoes on nothing there, but just shoes mounted.
Yes.
And but like shout outs to his name, Manberg.
I love
No
Yeah, so
clue. It's
he's
fucking
played by
awesome.
Igal Nawar, an Israeli
Yes.
actor who I have
Yeah.
never heard of, but
Neither did I.
he was in Munich, Green Zone. He actually portrayed Saddam Hussein in a 4-episode House of Hussein show on HBO. So,
Interesting.
He's in
alright, there you go.
Homeland.
He was
a lot.
interesting character in that movie,
I
in this movie too. So
Yeah. I really I enjoyed his lair, if you will,
oh
in
yeah.
the school. What else did I like? We just watched this. You'd think that I would remember more. We just watched it on Sunday.
Mhm.
I thought it was funny how the hair cream is what did it.
Yeah.
They get high off the hair
Yes, they
cream.
get high off.
This'll bring up the dead.
All because of a dang tick. It was a big ass tick.
It was
Yeah.
a big ass tick. But they were small compared to what they were.
Well, I don't know, were they?
Yeah.
Because Buffalo Bills are big, and then like people's spirits when they came in like appeared to be like in scale. Because when he
I think
comes up, he's
I think
Oh,
their
no, maybe
normal
he was just
size,
big.
like, compared to us, and Buffalo
And
Belzer
he
is just an
was
absolute unit. Like, he's like a mountain.
so.
He has an amusement park on his stomach. Like,
Do you think do you think the giant ticks are a reference to the film Ticks? Who's in
yes.
that? Hold
That's
on.
what I picked it up.
The guy who plays Carlton in Fresh Prince is in that movie.
Oh,
And he dies by the ticks.
Alfonso
Rivera.
Yeah.
River. I don't know his
Yeah,
last name.
I don't know.
That
That's what I
guy.
thought. It was like giant ticks, and that's always what I think of is the scene with him in it where he dies from giant ticks. I don't know if that's a connection, but there you go.
Now I do like when they bring back the group to vote,
Oh, the old council members.
and
Yeah.
they're all zombies. They can't walk.
They try to dress them up. Just like
But as soon as they all step out of their coffins, they just collapse.
They all come back to life, and it's just like, well, they're alive now, so they can vote. And you're like, I don't think that's how that works.
Not how that works.
I don't think if I just went out and like found some way to raise the dead, they would be legal to vote. Like, I think he's still technically dead, but all right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like somebody in this movie should have been voiced by Danny Elfman? Just at some
I don't
point,
think he wasn't involved at all.
I figured he wasn't. I'm just saying, like, it just felt like somebody should have been voiced by Danny Elfman.
The dad.
I don't know, why not? Make it happen.
No.
No, the dad,
No.
the girl, Shobon's dad or whatever.
No. He saw.
I know
They were
they
British.
both
They were
do.
British, though. But I
They
mean,
both
there's no
do.
way you could tell me that Mr. Claxon's design wasn't modeled after a former president of ours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no way in hell.
Absolutely.
Like,
And
no denying it.
the lady.
Did you guys watch till the
mom.
very end? Did you watch the post credits?
no, we didn't.
It was nothing to add to the story. It was cool. It was one of the animators, like kind of like playing it off like Kat hangs out with him. Like Kat escaped the set. She's just hanging out, and it's just like her little figure, kind of like, walking around
okay, that's cool.
his office. It was a little cool.
That's
thing.
neat.
They did that with Paranorman as well. They had a little
Oh, did
thing
they?
where one of the
Okay.
animators was doing it, and then they show you, like, how it's insane. I mean, what, Nightmare came out in '93, we're almost 30 years later, and it's still pretty similar. I mean, it's a little bit more smooth, but it's so much time. So much time.
Yep.
I just think of when they did it with Kong in '33. So
Yeah, exactly. It's wild where we've come.
in
I mean, I know a
in
lot
about
of the
100
times
years.
I know they have, they actually connect figures to, like, arms now, where it's easier to animate them. Where, like,
Yeah.
back even, when Nightmare, they had to, like, it was all just hand, like, you move the leg,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
take a picture, move the leg again, take a pic like, it's it's wild. The whole process blows my mind. That's why I love these movies so much, and I respect the hell out of them. Even if they're not great,
Yeah.
you still gotta respect the amount of work that they put into them. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like we were mentioning before, like, you mentioned Henry Selick had done Monkey Bone. Like, Monkey Bone's not a great movie, but the fact of, like, what they were able to do with Brendan Fraser and, the monkey, who is claymation, that's really cool.
Yeah. You're just thinking of Who Framed Roger Rabbit in Cool World.
But yeah, it's really cool how they are, were able to do that in that movie, be able to mix that. It was like, the Roger Rabbit effect of mixing animation with
Yeah.
Yeah.
live action. So, mad respect to everybody who is in that field who does that type of filmmaking. It's really cool.
I have one thing I want to point out in this movie, and in the world of how Hollywood works, and um, again, this is not a huge point of contention for me, but I just want to point out how this movie handled it. Um, I actually liked how they handled Raul's character in this.
Mhm.
Being trans, the fact
Mm.
that it was mentioned really passively and realistically had no impact on the story.
No.
It was just
It
like a throwaway thing here. Not throwaway as in not important, but just as far as the film goes, it's mentioned very slightly and that's it. It's not like something that's hung around the whole movie and everybody brings it up and it's like it's
yeah, it's
they just made
mentioned.
it
It was
normal, like
incorporated
as it
into the
should be.
story very well,
Yeah,
you know.
it's but that's how it should be. Like, I mean, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be a big deal. It should just like that's just how it is.
Yeah. Very, very well done.
Yeah, good job, GG guys.
Uh, Wendell and Wild definitely were the best
Yeah.
characters this movie, of course, being the title characters. Cat was I really liked Cat. I think I don't know, I think the way that she's put off is a little too strong, but I guess it was a little too much, I think, at points. Like, she coming in there with, when she first shows up to the school or to the home or whatever the hell this place is, and, she's all dressed up in her, like, outfit. She's got the boom box walking down the hallway with the 2 little penguin nuns walking near. I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's funny. I laughed, but it was like,
Yeah,
I think it's, like, this character is just a little too much.
yeah.
But, it didn't throw me off. I like of course, it's a character who the reason she's like this is because she feels guilt for her parents dying, even
Mhm.
though she had nothing to do with it.
And
And,
a pretty shit, situation her life went through in, like, foster homes and
yeah,
the one
exactly.
kid that she, like, got mad at and he, like, fell down the stairs and I guess got hurt and or died. It's not really
I think he just got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think he
yeah,
died.
yeah, but then,
I
like,
mean, I wouldn't
how
be
she had
surprised though, the way that this movie kind of
yeah,
puts out those dark
yeah,
tones.
yeah, like, it's yes. These people have problems in this movie, so
But I have to agree with Angela in a way that the klaxons are probably the worst part of this movie because we've seen this villain before. This is a
mhm,
very similar story to what we've seen in other animated films where it's big, these 2 just obnoxiously evil characters who are trying to take over a town to build a prison so they can just make money off of the prison or they get, like, the tax break or something like that. It's
those
it's
yeah,
so
private prisons.
yeah, it's dumb, and, of course, then they have to take over, then everybody kinda groups up. It was like they had a plot or they had a direction and it kinda veered off in different directions, like, "Well, first we have to raise my parents." The whole point was Kat wants to bring her parents back to life. She figures out that she's marked and she is, Wendell and Wild are her, like, demons,
Yeah, she's
And
a hell maiden?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
and she can call upon them and, pretty much make a wish or something like that to, like, "I wanna bring my parents back to life." They help her do that. They figure out that this hair cream that they are using to, help grow back the hair of their gigantic demon of a father actually brings things back from the dead because they kill a tick and then they put it on the tick and it comes back to life. It's one of those like dumb. Like we were talking about earlier. Like Jordan Peele's character Wild is kind of the dim-witted one, but he's the one who discovers that the cream brings things back to life on accident,
Yeah.
and he likes to eat it. It's I guess very good, and I guess it's the only tube they have left. I was like, wait, what? So Buffalo Belzer, who is the demon father, who has an amusement park of souls on his stomach, which is the craziest fucking design ever, man. I love the design of the souls though. It just looks like somebody cut them out of paper and they're just like hung by strings, like
Mhm.
whoa, so great. But like, does that's the only tube you got left? Like what? You don't got a whole supply? Like, what happens when they ran out? Like, if they were actually doing their job correctly, what happens if you ran out?
Maybe he has gotta order some, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
he's
guess
just, like,
so.
asked. Well, I was gonna say, speaking of Wendell&Wild, because it almost seems at times like they wanna try to make them like the bad guys, but they're really just kinda misunderstood and manipulated, and because like, even when they first they're like, "Oh, shit, like, we're gonna have to lie to get her to summon us because we can't bring their parents back," and they find a way to bring her parents back, and they get there, and then they resurrect the
The priest.
priest that dies. But they even say, like, "Well, we need to resurrect her because that was part of the deal."
Mhm.
And then because they're trying to be straight up for it, and then they get manipulated because they just want to build that park of their own or fair of their own.
Dream
And
fair.
they're just characters that are, I guess, they're just misunderstood characters, or like I said, manipulated, or just um maybe not ignorant, but naive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their whole thing is they want to start their own like carnival. Like they want to
Yeah,
have their own thing. So like
Yeah. Dream
they
fair.
have a dream. Yeah, they have the dream fair.
It
yeah.
looks really
And they don't like
cool.
their dad because
Yeah, because
their
he's
dad didn't
literally
treat them well.
yeah,
Yeah.
he pretty much uses them as servants. They're
Yeah,
pretty much stuck up there fixing his hair for eternity, pretty much. I think that's what they say at one point.
and living in his nose.
Yeah.
But something
That was
Wild did.
gross.
I don't even know what
That was
he did.
gross.
Well, Wendell blames Wild for it. I don't know what the fuck happened. How they ended up
I
being.
don't remember what the reason was behind that. But
Uh,
so you have the whole plot line of Father Best, who goes to the Claxons because he is going to help them get the votes in order to get the prison made, in order to get money for his school. He's kind of a shady guy, but like he turns on them pretty much, and they end up killing him.
Yep.
And then Wendell and Wild bring him back to life when they come to the real world, and you get the plot line of Kat figuring out her kind of, because she's a Hell Maiden now, and Sister Helly, you find out is a Hell Maiden, and she can like teleport in a goddamn floor. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I was so confused by her like portal traveling. Like she could sink into
yeah,
the floor and just like pop
yeah.
up.
It's like a little like sludge or whatever. She could travel
Yeah,
along the ground really fast. It's pretty cool.
it's really
Like,
cool. But it's like you have those directions. I just don't feel they intersected well.
Yeah,
It's just a lot I think
it
they were
is.
trying to put on the plate, and it didn't work out 100%. I don't think it was terrible, but it could I think it could have been done a little bit better. You get the whole thing with what was his name? Manberg, who you think he's
Manberg,
like a bad guy.
Mansburger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he is told by so Kat is told by Wendell and Wild that Kat needs to get the bear because the bear is like possessed by a demon or something like that.
Yeah,
what is it?
Manberg's bear.
No,
Yeah.
It's Belle's a bear.
Belle's a
Yes,
bear.
Belle's a bear, which is so good. So
What?
yeah, and Kat notices this thing in the drawer earlier in the day when she was in class. She sees that the drawer was kind of glowing green and shaking.
That's where she gets marked.
Right. Yep. But she goes back and gets the bear, and Mansberg comes in because he writes that Helly is a thief.
Yeah,
You're like, oh,
Sister
is he
Helly
like,
is a thief.
yeah, she is, what are these other characters? And then you find out that Helly and Manberg they actually work together. They're actually friends. Manberg collects demons, which are all like related. They're all just
They're
Buffalo
Buffalo
Belzer's
Belzer's
children.
kids
Yeah.
that ran away before Wendell&Wild because he's
And
an
Manberg is
asshole.
just snatching them up.
Yeah. Like, one thing I'll say, does it feel like, and I think I'm going to go off what you say, and this is, I think, my problem with the movie, or where I had just some issues about just weird stuff happening. I feel like there's this main plot about Cat, right?
Yeah.
That isn't the most consistent, and then you introduce all these other little threads that don't necessarily have any or great payoff.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a horrible thing. It's just it just kind of disjoints the pacing for me a little bit because I'm like, oh, they're introducing her like Hell Maiden powers, and then like I don't know, she kind of gets it, but that's all introduced really late in the movie, and I guess you could see into the future, but not really see into the future or whatever. I don't know. It's really she can, but it's weird. Like it's introduced like right at the beginning of the movie, and you get no payoff for it till almost the very fucking end of the show, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
You also have those the three girls that Kat meets when
Yeah.
she first gets to school. So it's Saban,
Sweetie and
or what is it?
No, it's
Wait.
Saban, Sloan, and Sweetie.
Yeah, Sloan and Sweetie.
Yeah,
Sloan.
who are you think are going to be like the mean girls of the school, but they're actually
That's
really
what
nice.
I thought.
Yeah, they're all
actually
really nice.
And you find out that
And they have
Saban is the daughter of the villains of this movie, but she doesn't like her parents. Like she actually is against what her parents are doing and helps in the end. And I'm like, I liked all that. That was really
Yeah, that's
really
fine.
cool because you always, anytime you see a movie that goes into that where it's like this fish out of water character coming into a new situation, they meet these girls, and it's always the mean girl. They're always the mean girls who pretend to be nice, but they're actually gonna stab you in the back
Yeah.
at any opportunity. But they actually all turn out to be really nice. And Saban's got the goat, which is
Yeah,
adorable.
Gabby.
Yeah,
Gabby's dope as fuck.
great.
His headbutts the brick that falls.
Yeah, yeah.
We meet
We gotta have that
Raoul,
son.
who is
Yep, Raoul's.
who I liked. I liked the camaraderie between those characters. You actually meet them when Kat first arrives because they knock the brick off, and Kat kind of senses that's what's going to happen, so she actually saves Saban's life.
Yep.
And that's kind of why Saban is really nice to her, because I think there was gonna kind of be that like a little bit of hostility between Kat and maybe Saban, because you feel that Saban is the leader of that little trio.
Mm.
And because she saved her life, she's like, no, I got to be nice to her.
And Raoul seems to most times come off as like the voice of reason for most of the movie.
Yep. You find out that Raoul's mom is the like representative of the town. I think she might be the mayor or something.
She's like the leader of like the town. She leads like the town hall or something. I don't fucking know.
And she's trying to, or maybe she's just a lawyer. Maybe she's a lawyer. I'm not sure. But she is trying to stop the Claxons from building this prison, and she feels like it's not going to go well because the Claxons need these votes, and all the only people who can really help with that are all they're all dead.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because the brewery the Cat's parents had a brewery before they died, and she got shipped away, and it was burned down.
What you find out,
and everybody
who were the ones who did it.
Yeah, and everybody that worked there died in the fire, so there were no witnesses.
It was like dark. This movie's, like I said, this movie's dark. Like there's just that whole story in itself is like, holy shit, that's crazy. But Wendell&Wild come to the real world. They bring back Father Best because they make a deal with the Claxons, right?
No. They bring back Father Best because he's an open grave. Like, let's try the cream and see if it works.
Oh, right. They were just testing it, right?
Yeah, because he was a fresh grave. Like, fresh grave was just checked. Yeah.
So he gets brought back, and then they they kind of make a deal. They're gonna go meet with the Claxons. The Claxons are like, we need you to raise all these old fuckers over there because they're gonna help us get our vote so we can get this prison made. But you can't bring back Kat's parents because they know that Kat's parents would be able to say something about the fire, which doesn't make sense because they died before the fire happened.
No, in the movie, the agreement was they started talking with them, and I think it was Wendell&Wild says something about bringing somebody else back, and they say no, you can't bring anybody else back. They don't specify who they want to bring back, but the deal is you can't bring anybody else back
because they promise them all this money. So
yeah, even though Kat's parents wouldn't know shit about it,
right? Because they died before the fire.
Yeah, so
right. So yeah, there's points in this movie where I feel Wendell&Wild are kind of put in the back seat, where they're just kind of chilling for most of the movie. And you're like, they gonna do something? They're just kind of chilling by their carriage, eating the cream with their hell horse, which was cool.
Oh, what was the horse's name? Damn it! I don't remember. Give me a second. It was a goofy name. Because it was that weird bug thing, but then they made it look like a horse to make it acceptable.
Yes. Yeah. It was the thing that was pulling their little cart on their dad's head.
Yes.
But so Kat gets the bear, and she goes to the cemetery to revive her parents. But actually, she brings it because she has to use the bear to bring Wendell&Wild to the real world. That happens, but they end up landing in the wrong spot. That's why they run into Father Bestgrave instead of running into Kat first.
Mm-hmm.
So that because Raul's the one who actually brings her parents back, because they pretty much were like, yeah, we can't bring your parents back. Oh, sorry. They kind of come up with excuse after excuse to not be able to do it. But Raul takes the cream and brings them back to life. You get the heartwarming reunion with them. It was nice. It just, things just kind of seemed a little all over the place until the very end. And even at the end, it was kind of that generic, small group of nobodies fight this big organization and they win. And they end up going to prison because they revive a couple of the brewery workers that died in the fire to pretty much be like, the Claxons did it. It's like, did you see them do it? Like, did they see him set the fire?
Well, I mean, the Claxons are so cartoonishly villain. They probably were standing outside the window as the place burned and watched these people, and as they twiddled their mustaches, they didn't have.
Absolutely.
But
the designs of them are just. It reminds me the wife. She reminded me of one of the characters from James and the Giant Peach. Have you ever seen James and the Giant Peach? You have the two evil ants that watch over James, and it looks like one of them. And then of course the dad looks like somebody who ran our government. But he was just British.
No.
I guess it could have either looked like him, or it could have looked like who was the
Boris Johnson.
Yeah. That could have been since he was British. So I was like,
it didn't hit me until you started talking about it. And I was like,
now
that's good.
That
good
makes more
poll.
sense now.
We just want to know who the fucking horse is.
It's not a horse, it's a tardigrade. A giant tardigrade.
Oh, it is. What is it? What's it?
No, I can't figure it out.
Ah, damn it.
But yeah. That's about it. There's really not a whole lot in this movie that really, really need to go over. It's pretty cut and dry. Kat figures her shit out. You have Wendell&Wild figuring their shit out, because they have their goals in mind and they don't really care about the consequences of what they do in order to achieve it. So, they want the money to start their fair. They'll do whatever they have to. And of course, their father shows up at the end to kind of be like, you guys are coming home and I'm gonna mess everybody here up. And it's like, well, how about this? I have a bunch of your kids here. I look, comes up in his wheelchair like, I got a bunch of your kids here. Do you want them back? And they're like, oh, that's where they went. Because he has this sob story of the fact that all of his kids left and they never came back. But then you find out why. Like, man,
Yeah,
bird.
he's just a piece of crap. That's
Yeah, he
why.
sucked. But the fact that he like destroys his fair and just to go up to the human worlds and confront his children. And Ving Rhames is
Yeah.
always great.
Oh, of course, of
So.
course.
But
We'll
I mean,
figure it out.
it's you got your final showdown at the end. You got them fighting off the bulldozers because Cat has that vision that shows like how it's going to be destroyed, and oh, it's going to be too late. We're not going to be able to stop this, and they end up stopping it because that's just how this movie has to end. It's got to end on a happy note, which is fine because of the of what it is, and Sister Helly is a great character. I like the fact that she
Yes.
helps because the fact that she's also a Hell Maiden. She is able to help Kat get kind of face her fears in a way because it's trying to get rid of her guilt of because she always lived her life thinking she killed her parents.
Yeah.
Because my parents didn't turn around when I made a noise. I was like, what? I mean, the dad. I would say it's the dad's fault. Why is he turning around like that when the mom's right there when you're driving the car? If something's going on with your kid in the back seat, and you got another adult. That adult is responsible for turning around and taking care of that situation.
I agree.
So it's the dad's fault. And like, did the mom just go down with the ship?
Spark plug.
Spark plug. That was it.
That was it. They call him Sparky or Spark plug.
That's great.
Because they go to kill him, and then they feel bad. They're like, I can't do
that.
So
good. He's like, right.
What if he doesn't come back? I feel terrible. Sorry, I interrupt. But yes, that's a tremendous weight for this main character to have to bear.
Yeah.
For this whole film,
So yeah, you get the whole resolution at the end. Belzer apologizing to Wendell&Wild for just treating him like shit. He approves their new fare. Best dies again because the cream is only temporary.
Yeah.
So meaning that Kat's parents are going to die again as well, but it's kind of okay. I don't know if if my parents died, I don't know if I'd want them coming back as like zombie looking fuckers. That'd just be weird to see. That'd terrify me. Oh hey mom, you're peeling.
Mom, you left your arms behind you. Don't forget that.
Your ear just fell off. I'm not picking that up. The dog's got it now. I don't know.
Oh shit.
But yeah, it's just it was even with all these kind of slight negatives to the movie, I still had a great time. I still scored it really high on my Letterboxd review. If you want to read any of my terrible reviews on Letterboxd, just type in Dissect That Film, and all of my terrible reviews are over there. But I had a lot of fun. I think when I watch these movies, it's not really the fact of is it have a really solid story. It's more of just watching the character design, looking at the character design in the world and just how insane this all is to make a movie like this.
It's very visually it's a visual treat.
Yes.
It's very visually appealing. It's very artistic, very colorful, even with all the dead.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah. That's all I got on this movie. You guys have anything you want to say before we move to the end of the show?
I think I voiced my full opinion. I just think if you haven't seen it, just like you said, watch it. If not for nothing, it's got a fun cast of characters and it's got a very good visual appeal. Even if all the little story plots don't pay off necessarily, or it's still good. It's not like the movie doesn't make sense. It's some inconsistencies in the plot. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
but it's a fun movie to watch.
Angela?
Nope, go watch it.
You don't like nothing.
So for our next Fresh Cuts, which will probably be in a couple weeks, we are going to be sitting down to talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it won't be out in next week. It'll probably be out in a couple weeks. Just we got to make sure we all can see it and able to record it and stuff like that. So we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. Make sure to check out our live stream we did last Friday. That dropped on Monday, and then on Friday will be episode 79 of the podcast where we hung out with Boomer and Gabby of Podcasts in the Woods, and we talked about Predator
and caves and bats.
And
trees,
a lot of stuff.
and a lot of things.
A lot of many things.
It
It's a
is
lot of sweat.
it is a movie, or it is a podcast that will either make you angry or will make you laugh your ass off, and I hope it's that one.
I
A lot,
surely laughed
for
a
sure.
lot.
Yes.
But it was a lot of fun hanging out with them, talking about Predator. And yeah, this was fun.
It's a nice chill episode.
Yeah, very chill. You know, it was
Yeah.
I wasn't angry as I was talking about Black Adam. Ugh.
Yeah, we didn't have any rants. Like, we had 2 for the
Nope.
Predator episode that I can think of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Not in a bad way,
that's a
but
great one.
it was just a lax episode.
So much
Talking about a movie that was enjoyable.
Yeah. If you wanna follow us on any of our social medias, just go to our link tree down in the description. We are on all the podcast services, of course, and on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe over there if you watch us, or if you listen to us on any of the podcast services that you can rate and review us. Do it, please. It's like
Yes.
45% of people who listen to our show listen on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review. So please leave us a 5-star. Write us a nice little review of what you like about our show. We appreciate
Even
it
if you
very much.
said, even if you're like, I'm giving this 5 stars because they told me to come here and do it.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
At least you're being honest.
And if you listen on Good Pods, which is where I listen to my podcasts, you can do the same. You can rate and review individual episodes, or you can just rate our show as a whole, which is a lot of fun. You don't have to write anything; just leave us 5 stars on all of our episodes, so we can get on those charts. I love getting the emails that say we made the Good Pods charts. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I look forward to it. He posts it, and I get excited about it.
But until next time, everybody, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And this has been another episode of Fresh Cuts. See you next time.
Bye.